Just to talk on that, there's a commercial out right now where they say, just say no. When someone comes up and offers you drugs, don't sit there and say, well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. Hey, just say no. No is the easiest word in the world. 2 letters. Just say no.
All right, let's get another question.
Yes, a question for Fritz, please. How long is it that you want your boys to stay in professional wrestling?
How long do I
Yeah,
want
how long?
to stay?
Hopefully not 25 years.
Just as long as they want to stay. I worry about the boys getting hurt. They've all had their share of injuries already. But
Is it like a quarterback or football player, Fritz, that, age 35, you better start looking at being in real estate? How long can they perform?
Yeah, the way these boys are going, probably by the time they're 35, 36, something like that, in wrestling, you can actually stay longer than in some of the other sports because of the very nature of wrestling. You learn that, it's like myself, man, when I started wrestling, I was 48 years old. Well, I learned these young sports to let them wear themselves out trying to take me down all the time I was wrestling, Well, you go a lot longer in wrestling than you can stay in professional football.
All right, you have a question?
Any of them. When will Chris Von Erich start wrestling?
What's your saying? When will Chris start wrestling?
What?
When will Chris start wrestling?
Oh.
My
Chris
brother...
has already started.
Yeah, he started a long time ago.
Chris said, I'll tell you just a real quick story, Ed, don't get nervous again.
Oh, no, I'll let you take over, sir.
Chris, the very first amateur match he ever had, he was 6 years old. Because I didn't play no, and I went out there, and I was the umpire, I was a referee. I didn't want to do that. Well, it turned out there's nobody as young as Chris, and nobody in his weight class. So Chris was 6, and in the first grade, had to wrestle a boy in the 8th or 9th grade. Now, it weighed Chris about 20 pounds. Well, the match went on, and he didn't pin Chris, but he certainly beat him on points. And when I raised that other boy's hand over Chris, I will never in my life forget the look on his face. Tears started rolling down his eyes. He ran to his mama like, how could Dad do that to me? Well, Dad never did it to him again, I guarantee you. I never refereed another bout.
And he's never lost since, right? You have a question?
This is to Mike. I would like to say it's real good to see you again, and we're wondering when will you be back to wrestle?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for all your prayers and everything. That you don't know how much that really meant. That was really something. That's what brought me back, and that's the only reason I'm here today. Some people ask me, they say, well, like you said, when will you come back? I'm not trying to rush myself because I don't want to hurt myself and put me, like when I had the car wreck, it put me back and I had to start all over again.
And you have hepatitis now, a slight case of it, yes?
I didn't know about that. I don't know. I don't think I had
I just told you that.
Somebody told me today before I came out here that in the paper it said that I had hepatitis, but I don't...
Yeah, it wasn't hepatitis. Let me clarify that, just very briefly. There's been a lot of comment about that. Mike still has a slight liver infection. It's not from toxic shock syndrome. It's from one of the blood transfusions. He had, I think, 20 or 25. There's just a touch of hepatitis in there. And Mike had a little touch of it. He has no sign of it now, but his liver's not totally clear yet. Therefore, he can't work out strenuously, which is required before he can come back in this ring.
Real quick.
But Dr. Bill Sudker tells me that in 2 weeks' time, it'll be completely clear. Mike can go on a full weight schedule and a full workout with his brothers.
So a month, 2 months, what?
I don't want to be too optimistic, but I don't want to sound pessimistic either. I think I'll be back by the middle of summer or maybe towards the end.
Okay, and we'll watch it. And we'll continue with the Ed Bush TV Talk Show for the Sportatorium after you watch this. We continue from the Sportatorium in Dallas with the Von Erichs. And this is fun. Everyone has a question. Yes, for the Von Erichs. For who?
For Kevin. I know that at one time you were real good friends with Chris Adams, and I was just wondering how the tragic end to his career affected you. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Did you say something about Chris Adams? Can you
Yeah.
repeat?
I wanted to know how the tragic end to his career affected you, if it did in any way.
How the tragic end to his career affected you in any way?
You know, I'd kind of like to throw that question back at y'all and ask if it had any impact on you guys. Now, I'm not saying anything about Gino Hernandez. I'm not going to say I loved him, but I'll say this. I hope everybody learned a lesson about that kind of lifestyle. I want to just get off of that. I really just... as far as Chris Adams is concerned, he's gone from wrestling. I don't believe you'll ever see Chris Adams again.
Gino supposedly died of a cocaine overdose.
Wait just a second.
Chris Adams is a great athlete.
Yes.
He found this out long before he joined
That's right.
But Prince is...
Chris Adams found. If it's possible for him to come back, he will come back.
That's right. I don't ever want anyone to put Chris Adams down. I bet you this is really weighing on his heart, because believe me, I know Chris Adams is... I know he's got a goodness in him. I saw it. In fact, I was close to Chris Adams. If you want to really get to the bone, I wouldn't want him to know about this, but I had a real friend there. But things turned around in Texas Stadium. I offered him a second chance, and only a fool gets fooled 3 times in a row. He sent me to the hospital. And I don't believe, you know, that just doesn't go down good with me or my brothers. You do one thing to any of us, and you've done it to all of us.
Kerry, with the money now, and there's a lot of money in being a good professional wrestler, and the age, you guys are all young, 20s, 30s. Is drugs a problem? Is it going to be a problem like it is in other sports?
Gosh, you know, seems like nowadays drugs are a problem, you know, in any sport and any lifestyle. But in professional wrestling, no, it isn't. It shocked us when we found out Gino Hernandez had died over cocaine. Because drugs are, in professional wrestling, it's probably less used as professional wrestling as any other sport. And so it was a shock to all of us, because Gino Hernandez, we didn't know that. And it shocked us all.
Yes, sir, question.
Yes, to Kerry. I'd like to know when you're going to let Kevin go after...
Just a minute. I've been sitting back watching this monitor, and I've been sitting and listening to everybody give you every praise from everything from discovering the first oil well in Texas to anything else. And I'm not coming out here to take anything away from you, all right? You got a good family. You've had a father and a mother that loved you and raised you right, okay? But you're out here talking about you need to be a follower or you need to be a leader. Well, you better understand, as long as the Freebirds are around, you are not a leader, you're a follower. Because we lead this place. Hey, no, wait a minute. And I'm going to tell you something. No, don't you tell me where to go. I know where to go. You see, I'll tell you what. Hey, who do you think fills up every arena around here? Who do you think filled this place up? It's not you, it's us. And you better learn. Hey, you're sitting there. Hey, you're sitting there talking to... Hey, you said that your old man said second is as good as last. Well, you better get used to second, because you're looking at number 1.
Hey, the Von Erichs family. I want to say the Von Erichs family has been the greatest wrestling
real good. My brother Kerry and I proved a point here tonight.
Until the Freebirds came around.
Hey, Roberts.
That's why they
Hey,
don't
Roberts,
like
listen to me. 2 against 2 right now.
Take these guys away.
Get the police.
You notice Bush face, it's 4 on 2. 4 on 2. Come on.
Hey,
Get thrown out of here.
All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Before we embarrass you again.
Gentlemen, I apologize I apologize. Obviously, we're here to talk about the Von Erichs, and this obviously bothers some people. Perhaps someday we can have a 30-second special on them instead of 45 minutes. Now, let's try to get a few more questions into the Von Erichs. Your question again.
Yes, I wanted to ask Kerry when he's going to let Kevin go after Ric Flair for that belt.
I'd like to answer that. I'd like to answer that.
You know, first of all, when it was chosen in Texas Stadium who was going to wrestle Ric Flair, it was chosen by my family over a coin toss. My brother Kevin was just as ready to take the world title as I was. Well, I won the coin toss, and so I got it.
Well, let me finish on that. I'd like to answer that question, really, right off the bat. Ric Flair has saved his title over and over by disqualification. If you ask me, there is no merit in a champion that keeps his belt that way. I'm sure it was new news to you. I got a telegram this morning, and it was new news to me, that the World Class Council has decided against a new world champion, and if winner take all, anybody wants to challenge him, come on, and he can't be saved by disqualification. I think that's a great step in professional wrestling.
Yeah, Fritz, you've made an announcement about the boys and an organization you've put together. What have you started now? This is real important.
All right, the new organization is coming about just because of the reason that Kevin and Kerry just explained. The world champion, Ric Flair, with the NWA, the AWA champion, the WWF champion, Porter, they all have the same rule. It's down to the point today where the champion's not got to beat anybody. He's got to keep them getting beaten. So the disqualification rule is there. And the new organization, which now has become, since World Class has done this, the biggest wrestling organization in the world. It's in over one-half the United States and in well over half the free world, probably more like all the free world now. They will all be coming to the World Class Wrestling Association. Important, you get disqualified if Rick Rude, who's been the American champion, is now the world champion for World Class. If he gets disqualified, he loses the belt. The referee, in some cases, even in a world title match, if the referee and the timekeeper concur that one man was better than the other, the world championship can change hands even then. So you can't protect it in this new organization.
All right, we're going to watch and see how that develops. That's great and exciting. I'll just try and get a couple more questions here. We're about done. Yes, sir.
This for Kevin. At one time, y'all held the Texas Tag Team titles. Why is there not a Texas Tag Team title now?
There is a Texas Tag Team title, but, you know, thank you for asking me a question, because there's something I've just been itching to say for a long time. I'm sorry. You give me a good chance. Okay, well, it's going to be a long answer, so I can't do it very clearly. I just wanted to tell you about these rating systems that come out in some of these newspapers and all. These are ratings that are, if you've noticed, the guys that are like number 3 or number 1 or number 2, these are mostly big, fat guys. If you ask me, put any of these guys in the ring with me or my brothers, and I hate to kind of start screaming, but I'd beg for the chance to take one of these so-called stars and pin him right here on this mat right here, on live TV. My dad said in 5 minutes.
What, Fritz? I didn't hear that.
And do it within 5 minutes or less.
Well, we surely would like to come here every week and do this. I mean, this is